Well, greetings everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the wonderful, fantastic, superfluous is the wrong word. the show that is not superfluous at all. It's absolutely essential viewing. It's called the Inworld Review, and that's us, basically. We look at people, places, and art is what it's all about, out on the Hypergrid. Now, what is the Hypergrid? Well, the Hypergrid is a sort of a system that networks multiple virtual worlds together. If you're familiar with original worlds like Second Life, which is now 21 years old, believe it or not, a bit like that, except a lot of separate grids that are also using open simulator software and servers, and they all network together. Optionally, they can de-network themselves if they've got a school full of kids or something, but generally speaking, it's all networked together. So we've got a wide galaxy of content to actually snoop around and go and film for you and talk about, of course. So, my name is Mal Burns, ought to say that. On my right-hand side is my right-hand man, so to speak. He sits a lot. He fiddles with knobs considerably and basically handles all the interactive side of things as well as chatting when available. So welcome to James Atlloud.
Oh, thanks, Mal. My lips aren't moving because I have to. Firestorm won't let me start voice without rechecking the checkboxes, so I'll just have to be still here. But I'm liking the studio. We've got some fun changes. The snow is gone, so it's wonderful.
Very good. Yes. We really had enough of. It's not quite spring yet, but I was searching for spring, and it's only for a few weeks anyway. While we sync our two studios, so they're a lot the same thing. Also, of course, my regular co-host these days is none other than Tosha Tyran. Welcome, Tosha.
Hi there, Mel. Nice to be here again.
Yeah. And thoroughly thawed. Although where you are, it's not too snowy anyway. It's the only place in the world.
No. I'm glad the snow is gone in the studio also. Really.
Yeah, a bit dominating. Every time I came to make the thumbnails for the show, all I could see was the white snow. And what color text shall I use and where shall I put it? Yeah, so that's that. So we got a springy feel here, a couple of fountains, and we've cleaned up a bit inside here too, so that we got a slightly bigger preview screen behind us. Right. Okay, so where was I? Yes, since last week, so to speak, apart from having melted all the snow and got rid of that, we've been around and about with our usual Wednesday visit to the Hypergrid Safari. This is held on the Hypergrid, the Safari region. No, not region, the actual Safari grid is what I meant to say. Every Wednesday at noon. Pacific time, that is, which is about 9 p.m. European time. And go to a couple of destinations that are interesting. Now, we saw last week's show, we did include a little bit of the blog about two visits, but because we were having an exciting excursion into virtual poetry, if you were with us then, we didn't get round to showing you the week's film from Safari. So we've got that. We've also got film from the two stops this week. And I've also got a new region, which is about 20 days old, called Nautilus Northern Tuscany, which from the name you can probably realize it's actually on OS Grid as well, which makes things convenient, and it is lovely. You will see that when we get to it. And a couple of other shorts which are just fun places on people on OpenSim. So without further ado, I'm going to mix things up a bit here. I'm going to start by going to Hypergrid Safari's actual website, which you'll see on our side screen now. The first visit we had this week was to something called Domadon Fun. Well, sorry, that's Thursday's title, I should say. You can find all Thursday's reports on Safari usually the day after, and you'll get them at hgsafari.blogspot.com. And this one, as you can see, is called Domaden Fun. Now, this one's interesting. It was the Bubbles grid, which is run by Tana Wells, who described it as a mesh maven. I was hoping she was going to be coming on this show, but she said she was waiting to finish something. And from what I saw of the build we went to see, it is sort of half completed. A lot of it is based on what's his name? Not is it Tolkien? I'm getting it. Yes.
Lord of the Rings type stuff.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings, exactly. You need to check out the blog here if you want to actually hear her talking about or read her talking about it. But we got some pictures there, 16 of them. That is Tana herself sitting on one of her posts, really. Very odd, these half-filled, interesting. But anyway.
The whole region is done by the idea un poco of Harry Potter, and these rings are Quidditch rings for the game in Harry Potter.
Right. Mm-hmm. Ah, right. Okay. So
everything Tana said that it was very much inspired by Potter, the whole region.
Oh, right. I was thinking of the week before. That's right. That was Lord of the Rings. Okay.
Yes.
Sorry. Yes, I thought I hadn't quite got it right. Yeah. Well, why not? Fantasy book a week kind of thing. There she is again, posing with whatever. Here we are, various hanging around. These are all, but basically there's a lot of empty space here, which I imagine she's going to fill with more builds and bits and pieces. But there was certainly enough for us to take it all in. All was a little bit more animated there. There's a nice close up of her. That hat always reminds me of Fuchsia Nightfire. So she's got a real life one like that, which is funny. Couple of signage things. The signs just took us to different bits. There's Jessica, camera lady. It's so bright. It's very the whole region, as you see. It's this bit's a bit brighter anyway. I've got a feeling there's a switch between night and day a bit to get these. So very sad sight. We're all posing there. Somebody a little bit different. This was actually a gift. It's an NPC of sorts, and I don't know whether if you click it, that bomb goes off. But anyway, grabbed a copy.
It reminded me of a Winx character.
Yes, it's that style, isn't it? Yeah. And here we go again. So this was, as I said, Dormadan. So this one, whoops, wrong film. This one is hello. Oh, yes, it is. It must have been still for a while. Okay, this is
the welcome region, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the welcome region, which is really just a little section off at the side. There's James, and I forget who that lady is, all over the place. One's self is there too. All the regular safaristas, as it were, hanging around there.
Well, I'm kind of holy.
Yes, you're very well dressed. You're always well dressed on safari. Well, these days, these days for sure. And what we got here? This. Why am I not seeing the timer on this? That's rather odd. Nothing there.
I think we spent a long time there at Tarna's suggestion, waiting for things to res. Things came in fairly quickly for me. How about you, Tosha?
Yeah, it resed well, and it was really good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even though it is such a small region, as I understood.
Yeah.
Well, the region I don't know, but the whole sim is rather small.
Yeah.
And but it's a beautiful region. You can discover very many things, and yes, it puts you, if you know the book. I've never seen the movies, but if you know the book of Harry Potter, it puts you right there.
Oddly enough, I've never read the books, but I have seen all the movies.
Oh, okay.
My late partner was a huge fan of Harry Potter, so couldn't really avoid it.
Well, and what I think is very nice about the region, it doesn't copy one to one the books or things of the books. It has been inspired by it. So you go there to the Harry Potter book or movie, whatever you have seen or read, but with its own thing. It's also Tana very much.
Yeah.
So that I liked, I could really appreciate that very much.
Yeah, I can't remember having seen a sort of larger build by Tana. I'm very familiar with her clothes and mesh things and all sorts of stuff over the year, and a couple of other nice arty pieces, but can't remember ever visiting a big region that was all hers, and is currently underway, of course. Yeah, so a lot of like everywhere I end up filming, there's always something that doesn't quite res properly. But I like the things here. You can see the worker and the birds and the NPCs and their poses and stuff. Oh, now that little area, if we're going there, yes, right. She took us over here near the end when we were there. And the purpose was just to pick up that little NPC. Yes, she's an NPC, I'm pretty sure, not Animesh, which we all got to take away with us. To do what with, I'm not quite sure, but we have her. Very sort of rustic too. It's got a flavour to it all over, basically. Sort of, each little spot is a bit different, but at the same time, it all feels like it's in the same village, which I guess is the idea. And there's the gang of us hanging around. Oops.
Once again,
Sorry.
Once again, I feel like this was something of a very open build, which I really enjoy that. But I don't know, were there cave areas or underground areas that we didn't get to explore? Did you get that impression?
I didn't find any. No, I mean, I tend to out of habit pan around the outside a little bit, and of course there are the adjacent bits here. But I can see plenty of rocks. Very familiar rocks, some of them, but there weren't even any real crevices between the rocks, let alone caves. So, she's got plenty of space to play with there, and she may do it.
Right.
Again, I've got the same thing as you. I'm getting confused with Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit houses and things. I mean, she could. I can't remember whether there's anything in Harry Potter where they, explore caves or anything like that.
Oh, gracious, yes.
I mean, so many of those.
The basilisk down in the there's lots of stuff.
Yeah. I guess I'm. Every time I think of Harry Potter, I think of the school.
Hogwarts.
Hogwarts, yeah. But of course, it's massive.
Oh yeah, but this is the village, the school.
The village. Yeah.
She did not, because the school, I think, has been reproduced in virtual world so many times that she just did the village near where the students would go. On their 3 days when they were allowed to leave the school, then I would go down to the village. And I think this is
is it a Muggle village or is it a wizard village?
Ooh, I think it's a wizard village.
Okay. There's a wand shop, I think. Yeah.
And I think she made a pretty good presentation of the village. You can, really think, that could be like that,
Yep.
Oh, very good. Yeah. So that was Domadon, was the name of the place, and Domadon Fun is the post she's got there. Now, after that, we went to the blog here is about Anna's Paris. This is interesting. I'd been there a few weeks ago. New Life Italy is a new grid, actually. Well, not totally new, but I mean recent, shall we say? And I mean, I immediately think, oh, Italy, not craft, of course, but in fact, this is principally Paris. So the grid's called New Life Italy, but the area in focus was called Paris. So let's move to the pictures and just see what we got up to there. It was a bit of a mega build. This I've got some film coming up, but not much of it, unfortunately, because it was very difficult to get things to res for me, anyway.
The buildings are really beautiful.
Beautiful.
I mean, really, and it gave me the feeling really to walk the streets of Paris. I've been in Paris a few times.
Yeah.
And it just was so near to the real Paris, I was really amazed,
Yeah, I thought of you,
Like that,
Tosha, with your Guggenheim and your Machu Picchu builds, and oh my goodness, all the buildings here were fantastic.
Yeah, these buildings are really great,
Yep.
And I was surprised too, because the first time I went to this grid, not to this region, that's quite some months ago, because I was looking to see if this Anna Mari that I could not identify, if she would possibly come to be a guest in the Inworld review. And I wrote to her, but she did not respond. And later on, I found out why. Because
French.
Anna has a particular story. No, she really is Spanish from the Basque country. She is comes from near, I don't know, near Irún, near the border with France. And she got with her husband also is from there. She moved to Switzerland because they could find better work there, and then she spent a lot of years in Switzerland, and I think she was in the Italian part of Switzerland because she speaks excellent Italian, but I think she also speaks French, which is quite normal for the people that live in Switzerland. And then after so many years, after they have retired from their real life work, they went back to Italy. No, back to where? Spain, because they wanted to go home, both of them. And after some years there, they kind of missed Italy, and they moved back to Italy. Now they're living back in Italy.
Okay.
So it's rather moving around kind of life she had. And she's a very, very gracious lady. She's just very beautiful character. And I could understand why she did not answer me, because I wrote to her in English, and she speaks Spanish, a little Basque. She speaks Italian, but she does not, and French possibly, but she does not speak English. So she probably did not understand my note card.
It should have called the grid New Life Europe.
Yeah.
A bit of everything in there.
Yeah.
She did use the translator HUD quite extensively, so she was only speaking in French or typing in French.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, the second one recently is the Safari that ended up being sort of multi-language, which is great. But one of the reasons that you use text and not voice is because you can't translate when you're on Safari. But on the other hand, if you've got you can translate into one language at a time with the HUD, but it's
I do pick up more reading the text than listening to French, so I get little bits and pieces.
Yeah, it's a very different experience. I Yeah, well, I what little words I
Well,
know.
unfortunately, that did not work for me at all. I only read French, and I almost don't understand French at all. So I was walking around there sort of earless.
Ah, okay.
Oh
But
yes, and
it's,
the sort of cardboard cutouts around the entire region, which is it gives you a great sense of you feel like you're looking at a much vaster area than you really are.
Surrounding city. Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, and I
So,
went on the big ferry wheel.
Oh, you
That
did. Okay.
Yeah, and it was lovely because you had a beautiful sight of the city. Unfortunately, it got stuck when I was all on the top of it, so I had to dare my life and jump down.
this is one of the slides that really gives you what you were saying, Tosha, about the feeling of walking around Paris. I don't know what it is, but it's both sides of the street and a sense of distance and space.
Yeah.
A lot of nice pictures here, of course. But.
Yeah.
I did not try. Did anyone try to see if we could go up on the Eiffel Tower?
No,
there
as I
was
say,
oh, okay.
I was just going to say I was only here for about 15 minutes before I was actually filming there, and I actually crashed, which is why the film stopped very abruptly, and I couldn't get back in. So I got the first 20 minutes or so. But
This is the Arc of Triumph.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
Tasha, there's
before
a
was
nice dance floor that was midway up the tower, the Eiffel Tower.
oh, cool. I did not get to go there. And before that church that we were inside, that is the Notre Dame, the one that burned a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
and is now reopened. And for sure, Anna was faster than the city of Paris.
Oh, right.
To reconstruct the church.
I did like in the back of Notre Dame was a pile of ashes, and I thought that was a
Oh
nice
yes, oh
touch
yes.
to the
Yeah,
fire and the
I
rebuilding.
saw that too.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny. Yeah.
Yeah. There's the dance floor. That's the dance floor in the tower. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Floor. Is the layout accurate to Paris? Do you know? I wasn't there long enough to be sure. It's probably a bit like they built London.
Yeah, no, so many of these things are spread out, and then Montmartre is famous for the high range of stairs you need to climb to get up to Montmartre. I said this is the easiest climb to Montmartre that anyone's ever done.
Oh yeah, but it's not so much either. It's a little bit, but not so much. But Montmartre, I did not see very much of it because that is such a lovely place.
Yeah,
also.
it was a small representation of Montmartre. Yep.
Oh, and the windmills. I remember when they were building a virtual London. There were several of them, but they built the square here where I live, and it was also very cramped, the houses, which they're not in real life. And trying to make it look to scale, and your avatars just didn't move right at all. But then they built the Hyde Park over the road, and then Soho, and suddenly these iconic areas were totally in the wrong place, and in real life you couldn't move from one place to the other.
But keep in mind, in Second Life, most avatars are 10 feet tall and higher.
Oh yes,
they're so overbuilt. Yeah.
Especially funny enough, especially the Italians are
super tall.
Italian avatars are super tall. They're gigantic.
That's right.
And that's so funny because they really have a fame in real life to be rather short.
Right. I wonder if the Dutch are really short in virtual worlds.
No. No, the Dutch are not, but the Italians are supposed to be, rather short, and in virtual world, all of them, I think they are the biggest.
I wonder how many people making new avatars actually they want to build themselves muscular or something like that. But I wonder how many of them actually take into account the background they're posing against when they're doing that, because ideally, you could build in the virtual world to scale.
No.
But, that would have to assume that avatars are to scale too.
No, it's not only the problem is not only the avatars, because I tried that. I tried that in is the camera. I tried that. I think it was in Second Life. I tried to, or I built Falling Waters. I don't know if you're
Gosh,
familiar with that.
yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Yeah.
And I tried to build it, one by one. I don't know, but by scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I made my avatar small so it could pass through all the doors. It was impossible. You could not move inside because your camera was always outside. You could not. It was impossible.
Oh yeah, the camera's another. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, my Second Life avatar is a cute little pussycat that's about the size of a shoe, so it tends to be able to get places quite easily. But even that gets caught.
Yeah. It's the thing is the camera. The problem.
Okay, now after those two visits, Tosha also posted a couple of other posts here. Kiran Metzar is a musician, so she did a little feature, very short feature, I said, to add. Again, go to hgsafariblogspot.com and you can read all about her.
I love that article. That
she obviously has a way with the audience, doesn't she? Hey, join in with me. That's good. That's a nice little gift, actually.
Well, and Kiran, she shared so much about being a musician and about her decisions to perform in the virtual world. I enjoyed that article a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And her SoundCloud page. Yeah, I'm back on the blog itself here, so as you can see, there's a lot to read there, which is always very good. And right now, this is our new little prompt here. Just get that right. Okay. So our first feature, as it were, this week is CraftGrid. And Tosha actually posted this blog this morning, but it's funny, just before we came on air, I actually said to Tosha here, I said, just how many regions have you got in Craft? And then she started counting, and then we're up to about number 9. Then there was another one, and I think basically she secretly owns the whole grid and probably just employs Leaker to run it for her. Anyway, this mentions the fact that the Hypergrid International Expo was there until recently this year, and Cornflakes Week and God knows what. But this basically they're celebrating a crystal anniversary, which is 15 years of community friendship and everything else. So I'm going to run the pictures here, but I'm going to leave it to Tosha to tell us a bit more about it, because you know it far more intimately. I've only got 7 pictures, but
well, I met Liku in Second Life. I knew him there, and because I was doing some things in the Italian community there also, and then he invited me to come to Craft to start to come to the first day of Craft, and I came along with my then partner, with Lumiere Noir, and we came and Liku and his partner Tao One and Lumi and I, we were practically the first 4 residents of Craft, and I can just tell you from the beginning, it was crowded. Well, crowded. There came more people very shortly because another Italian grid in OpenSim closed. That was Cyberlandia. That was I think the first Italian grid, and I was there for a while too. And but then it closed up, and Liku offered space to all the residents of Cyberlandia that needed a new home, naturally. So that was the thing that we started out very international, because Lumi is US American, me being German or living in Germany at that time too. And Tao is a Scottish from England, but also was living in Germany, and Liku Italian, but well, Sardinian actually.
Yeah.
And so we were really very international when we started, and then we got sort of flooded in a positive sense by Italians. So it was pretty dominated, but it was so much fun in the beginning.
It's funny. We often talk about, oh, it's not really Italian. It's it's just it's a regular grid. And I seem to remember when it first arrived, it was pretty early on because I mean grids come and go ever since then. But I remember it was probably advertised in Second Life too as the creative grid. So
Oh, really?
the
Yeah,
craft people, the artists, were actually
yeah,
moving there as
yeah.
opposed to maybe one of the others.
Well, that was going so and so. It was like I said. It really it has the fame of being more or less an Italian grid, but it is not. It is very international. There are really you can find people of any nation in craft, and there was a time also quite in the beginning where there were it was a very much predominated the artistic um, Sims. It's not that case anymore. There's a lot of art. There are a lot of wonderful people that make art still in craft, but the art scene as such has moved a little bit to other grids and other places.
Yeah,
What is very much in predominant in craft, even though it is not public, is the educational
yeah,
thing. Um, Craft, the management of craft, let's say Liku and others, work together very closely with schools and with the, I don't know, what ministry or whatever it is behind it. And there are a lot of Sims that are dedicated to students, and only students and teachers and assistants can go there, nobody else. And they're very interesting. It's fascinating what these teachers do with the kids, or what the kids do there on those grids, how they communicate with each other, how they build things, how they talk about their own history and about the Italian history. Like what I saw, what impressed me very much was a few years ago, Italy after the war, the end of the war in Italy. And the kids had brought all papers and pictures and photos from their parents or their grandparents that lived through that time, or rather their grandparents, I would
yeah.
imagine, because the kids are between 12 and 14, I think, that are there mostly. And
Do they? I know they're closed, as is in other grids in OpenSim. Educational grids, particularly, are a lot down from the hypergrids, so they're closed off areas because they're kids. But I'm wondering, do they do exhibits and like the research these kids are doing? For example, the one you're mentioning, does their exhibit come into the hypergrid proper and stay online for people to see?
uh,
Or is it really closed off?
normally not, but you can always talk to the ones that are managing the educational grids, and that they would open, like for a safari or something like that.
Right, yeah, like an open day. Yeah,
Yeah, and but normally no, because well, for obvious reasons, it's close to anybody but schools, and the school kids cannot go to other grids either
yeah, of
with
course, yeah.
their subscription. They can only enter in the school grids. But it's really very, very fascinating. But also to tell you more about Craft Grid in the beginning, it was really, I swear, it was you go there, you build a little, and the whole grid crashed, or the sim you were on, or the region crashed. Then you were offline, and then you came online. You could work another half hour or something like that, and then everything crashed again. But that was not only craft, that was on all of OpenSim. It happened in the beginning very much, but which did not disturb us, the few people that we were in craft, very much. We used to work on our things, everybody on a sim, on his region, whatever. And then in the evening, we would meet and we have parties practically for at least as I remember, practically every night, That was really so much fun. And we were a community that we all knew each other, and recognized each other by name and by the avatars, and it was all very, very funny. And by the time now, craft has grown quite a bit, and there are very interesting regions and um, on craft, all kinds of. For example, the very well known Museum of Metaverse is on craft,
Of course, yes.
and
and we
and
held the HIE on craft for many years. This coming
yes,
will be the
yes,
first year we've moved to its own grid, so to speak. Yeah.
yes, and Lico has always been very generous of giving for free regions for special occasions or for special things, like, for example, the hypergrid. No, not the hypergrid. The HIE
Yeah.
event.
Hypergrid International Expo.
Yeah,
Long-winded.
he gave the region, for nothing, and also there is also the Ivory City, which is based on this great build of Lumiere,
Yeah, yeah.
on the Ivory Tower in Second Life, and it has all the if you want to know how to work with prims, where you best go there first, you can learn everything. You go
Yeah.
from one place to the other, and everywhere you have lessons with the descriptions and translated note cards in 4 languages, and that's really very cool. And that is there did not exist meta what do you call it? Meta, whatever, those big regions.
Mega regions or
Yeah, thank you.
VARs.
Yeah, thank you.
Now.
Yeah, again, exactly. They did not exist then, and so it is built on 4 regions. It's very large and it's very beautiful and really worthwhile a visit. And then also the Noah's Ark, where you can find that is an ark, really an ark as big as a region, and you can find a lot of animals and plants and trees and everything there. And the animals and plants and everything were almost all donations of people. And I've built the ark and put all the things there together, and it's a really great
I think
place.
we must schedule imminently, since it's the birthday, to do a tour of key regions. So instead of just filming
Yeah,
a bit, like
yeah,
this is a slideshow, of course. Go from one to like the choice regions you would choose, and of course your own. So
yeah.
this the 2 slides here, the last one that I paused on, actually, Henry Moore's was letter, obviously an art exhibit. I'm not sure what the color thing is, but the second slide here, we're busy talking generally when it came up, but I'm very intrigued as to what this was. A bit nightmarish, but I love the color
Yeah.
and all. It was,
Yes, it is. That is also some event that is happening, I think, in the region that belongs also to the metaverse. That is like a choir of something. I find the look of it a little
it's
nightmare too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Common
Bonnet
song.
striking theatre for comment, right? And
Yeah.
he, of course, was one of the performers last time at
Yeah.
HIE, I recognise from there.
Velasquez Boneto is one that is very active in the Museo de Metaverse. The Museo de Metaverse started out in Second Life, and then it moved to Craft, and it got a little abandoned there. I mean, Roxello was always around and doing things, but you didn't hear so much of it. And then I think it was the combination with Velasquez and Roxello that really brought much life again and draw many people and many artists to the art museum, the Museum of Metaverse. They do a lot of things there,
Yeah.
very much and very interesting expositions and events. It's really quite fascinating place.
Well, we'll do a great tour. I think we'll do a great tour of Craft Grid at some point very soon. We'll do, maybe even next week. We'll just get a lot of different film and so we can look a bit more into all the birthday celebrations that are going on as well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Let's move on for this week for now, because all I've got there is a slideshow. Lovely that it is. What was I? Okay, I'm going to quickly show a couple of films we've got here anyway. One is a new piece from Karima Hoisan. This was actually filmed on Kitely, and it's called A Space Tumble. So let's have a look at this. Actually get some sound with this too. I think it may be worth a trip to Vector's Vortex to see that for myself. I'm a real sucker. Sucker, sort of ambient music and semi-psychedelic visuals. You know, it reminds me of Nick Green.
I think Karima has a great talent for making, clips, movies.
Yeah,
she really does very well. The music is like experimental, and it's not so much mine.
I actually like it, but I'm really keen on that.
I think it matched the images And though I like the images very much, the music, I thought, I just as soon turned it off.
Fair
I just
enough.
enjoy the images.
Yeah, fair enough. But I think I've got a soft spot for ambient sounding music and sort of spatial videos, that I could almost make a huge playlist to play for myself offline of these things. Okay, the other clip I've got this week is Kandorian. I'm not quite sure where this is, but I'll play it anyway. Again, it's a feature piece with sound. A period piece of sorts. It's definitely an open sim, so Kandorian.
That without knowing anything, it looks like Pangea.
Yes, this is German, is this, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very medieval sort of feel too.
Oh, okay. It has something to do with Star Wars.
Go lower the volume slightly so we can hear you. Yeah.
It has something to do with Star Wars.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Talking of Star. Oh, sorry, it's not Star Wars. I watched the new Star Trek movie last night.
Star Trek is not so much Star Wars. Huh?
No, it's not. There's something different. But the Star Trek one, I don't know what James, whether he's seen it, but
that movie was not a Star Trek movie. No,
it's awful. It's just so awful.
Yeah,
terrible. It's made by Paramount. And it's got Michelle Yeoh in it, but it's awful. I mean, there's nothing about it that feels Star Trekky. It's all shoot 'em up and action, and none of the spiritual core of Star Trek is there, is it? It's
no.
Well, it describes here a little bit about it. It says the normal things. You come there and you find friends, and it's nice to be part of something larger like that. So I'm just waiting.
How does this region compare to Star Trek, do you think?
I don't know. Presumably it was in the text.
To Star Wars. Oh, it was in the text. Okay.
No, it's in the internet. I just looked it up.
Oh, Kandorian, right. So it's some planet that somewhere in the Star Trek universe, Star Wars
universe. Okay.
Role play world, great.
I'll read to you. It's one phrase or two. The Kandorians were the natives of the planet of Kandoria. 20 years before the Clone Wars, they, along with those of its colonies, were eradicated by the Blue Shadow virus. Now you know.
Okay.
Okay, so before the Clone Wars actually means it's before any of the movies, original.
Yeah. Well, you see there 80,000.
So many books and comic stuff that's still considered canon, going back into the past. And the next actual Star Wars movie coming up is actually set way in the dawn of time before the other ones, I believe. But anyway, we're not here to talk Star Wars.
Right.
Are we? Right. Okay. So I'm going to start playing now. It's always nice to actually bring up a new grid, and this one, in fact, have I? Eek. Oh man, just let me double check. I might have it open here. Yeah, I went to opensimworld.com anyway, and I found this. I think we got a lower third for that while this is playing anyway. But it's on this grid. It's a region called Nautilus Northern Tuscany. Category architecture, rating adult. I don't know why. And added by somebody called Chad Deisha. 19 days ago, basically, as long as it's been up. It's got a traffic rank of 166, which I guess if it's only been up 20 days. It hasn't got around yet. And it was born and inspired by somebody called Valena, and she created an amazing Tuscan villa and property that was the inspiration for the amazing region. And I do love this. It's not, considering how much I filmed, it's not actually a long film. It's about 15, 20 minutes. So let's have a look at this. Yeah, there we are. So this is a long shot. Basically, that island we're coming to here is the landing one when I followed the link. But there's so many sort of companion islands that have the same flavor to them, but they're all a bit different. And yeah, well, you can see one thing I really loved about this was, as you'll see as we go along, is the textures. And we see a lot of foliage here, which is making up the textures, but the way the actual textures on the ground, as it were, have been blended impressed me. I mean, you can't see them all the while, obviously, but when we do see them, I get thinking, God, lovely. So obviously one of those regions where, you know, that I don't know much about activities or whatever that they've got going on, but for something that's so recent, I think it's a pretty astonishing build. And it's one of these places where, you know, it's not in a city like Paris, but it's one of those where you really feel like you're taking in a bit of the feel of a real place here.
Yeah.
And it's not rain, it's a water fountain on top of the it's getting in the way of my camera, that was. I presume I don't know much about Tuscany, but I get the feeling from this and the later bits of the clip that the architecture is very much of a style of that region. I might be wrong. Again, one of these things where, you know, it's almost like still paintings, the detail lying around, you know, in each little set, so to speak. If one was filming a James Bond machinima, you know, this will be top of the location. Things, you know, how it goes scouting for locations that would make good, you know, places.
Yeah, have you visited Tuscany, Mal or Tosha? I've not been to Italy, so. Okay.
I have only ever been to Rome, and that was many
you
years
mean say it again?
Have you been to Tuscany, Tosha, in real life?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
I could not. I didn't understand it because in German we call it Toscana.
Oh, okay.
That sounds quite different.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
that piano.
Yeah. Where the strings.
I was thinking that's it. You'll get a tinkle when you
have drinks, not strings.
Yeah.
All this, and one gets the impression that it's not like a builder's just been put up by somebody and they've been shopping around for things to put in it. There's too much blends too well, if you see what I mean. I got the feeling that a lot of this furniture and stuff like that has been specifically made for the build. I might be wrong, but it feels like everything fits, you know, small details. And I don't know about the rabbits. Do they fit? I don't know.
If you look around enough, I think you can find something matching for every build.
Yeah, and especially with Blender and the 3D marketplaces, you can find just about anything if you want to convert it.
Yeah. And that, I think, actually is a little bit of a shame, which does not happen all the time. And maybe it's my personal thing, but you find every time less places where people actually have built things themselves, you know, created them, but they look around, shop around, and put things together, which is also very good. I don't say that it is bad or anything, but sometimes I think it's a little bit of a shame, that people don't
But,
put their hands on something themselves anymore, as for example with Prims,
Mm-hmm.
it's like people, some people build their own houses.
Yeah.
And do the whole thing,
Yeah.
whereas other people go shopping to Habitat or something and just buy the furniture they want, and the art to them is just arranging it.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
everywhere's got that settee, but I'm going to have it in that corner because I'm special. A bit of an odd.
I think it has, it's all right to do that, but I
Yeah.
sometimes miss the things. But that's maybe because I myself like to build everything or almost everything by myself, which
Sure, sure.
some people might call it stupid also, but it's just thing that I like to do.
At 4 a.m. building, I call myself stupid sometimes. Why did I do this?
Oh yes, I do now with my Machu Picchu.
Oh, no.
I think it will be finished in 100 years.
Oh, no.
It's difficult when you've got many projects going on at once. Now, which one shall I continue today? And it's like the artist with 20 canvases in the studio.
Well, no, I am a little different with that. I built some big thing, like now is Machu Picchu, for example, but I did it with all the others too. And then I get so fed up and so frustrated that I start something else, a smaller thing. And then I do on that for a while, and then I return to the big build, with
Yeah.
Yeah.
with a little new inspiration. Now I have it practically all done in Blender, and it is a matter of getting it up into um,
Into OpenSea, yeah.
to upload it all, and then that it has no holes and no blank faces and no and that is quite a quite a work.
Sure.
Yeah.
Quite a job. That the texture looks right. The texture might look right in Blender, but then all of a sudden in OpenSim it looks all
That's
turned
not
around
quite the
and
same
twisted.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't understand that, but that's that way. Oh, but this is lovely, and it really looks a bit like a.
Yeah,
Uh,
this one on multi-levels reminded
Tosha,
me of
yeah,
another place I visited recently, which, lower, there was a couple of shopping regions lower down the hill, and then there was a villa at the top. This is different,
Okay.
but it's got a similarity to that film we made. Yeah, it's just, it's a kind of, I want to be there kind of thing, which
yeah,
in this case, of course,
yeah,
is easy enough to teleport.
yeah,
Yes, folks, you don't just have to watch this show. You can go and teleport to this and wander around.
yeah.
It's fully open to the public.
It really looks lovely. Also, the landscaping looks very beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. They say every element of the building has gone into this. The textures, the architecture. They've listed it under architecture, but but there's the foliage and stuff like that, and as I said earlier, the bits where they've got multiple textures on the ground just blending into each other, which is just in the odd places where it's needed, but impressed me.
Oh, it's really beautiful.
The outhouse. Oh, and the laundry's out. Obviously filming at the wrong side. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to go to your back garden. Yeah, and then panning out and then just jumping to another nearby island. And it's so similar, but just little bits different too. That was a bridge connecting that one, of course.
Really cool.
Yeah, and then hop over to the next one, and everything is, ruined. I mean, it's still got that majestic feel to it. I don't know, but it's just a small island, that one. I think that ruin I've seen somewhere else actually, but I have everything. And they've got a nice little. I think I came into it actually. It's nice little boats that are actually moving between the islands. You can see them in the distance. Oh, well, at some point I pan in and have a look at one. That's a nice little sort of pond and texture again. It's It's making the rocks look boring. Yeah, here's a good example of look at the what they've done on the actual ground.
Beautiful. Well, but you can see it's not terraforming either. It is more it's all mesh made to the ground.
Yeah,
I'm
quite
pretty sure.
possibly. Yeah. Yeah, I always thought I experimented with that, not making the meshes, but finding meshes and texturing them and plonking them down for a while. And I grew bored. I'm not good enough to these days anyway to do it.
It is a skill, definitely.
But I did like the feel I got when I was walking around on mesh ground, knowing that it wasn't, just a raw file and standard terrain, with sort of four textures at different elevations.
Yep.
Well, the problem that I find with terraforming very often is when you make, some mountains too high or too steep, then the texture is kind of stretched,
Out.
and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't look so
yeah,
nice anymore. And that you can do with mesh a lot nicer,
yeah. You can also do it really badly with mesh too, because mesh, like everything else, stretches.
Ooh,
But
what is this white thing there?
well, I think I'm puzzling over that. So I sort of panned out and thought, I better show that, whatever it is.
It
It's,
looks like
it's a mini
like
white
an
sun in the sky.
atomic heating plant, something like that. Anyways, it looks like
Oh,
my dog under my blanket on my feet. Warm.
This is nice too. This is definitely a mesh.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Similar things, but it's like a little village on multiple levels. Well, not really multiple levels. It's just got a sloping street and a corner and another sloping street. But
It's beautiful.
yeah, I kind of like this. Why is it?
Really very,
Must have paused.
very
Yeah. So with all these islands, it's not just one. Any one of these would have been great to recommend to explore anyway. But, with all the different ones there. Oh, and I think well, that's the bit where I find the boat. Maybe I ended with the boat. Yeah, just so nice, really. The lighthouses. I always laugh when I see lighthouses with those sort of prim beams coming out of them. They're the one thing that doesn't look real. Oh, there we are. Yes, so they've got the duplicates of this boat sort of traveling by themselves between the islands. I presume you can probably hop on.
Yeah.
You can just hop on and go to the next island.
They look like the I don't know how they are called in English. Gondola.
Yeah, gondola. Yeah.
Yeah, in Venice, no?
Venice. Yes, exactly. That's another Italian location, of course. Oh, we're back at that bit actually.
Oh, it's just really lovely.
Yeah. So yeah, I managed to get quite a lot into that, and it's only 15 minutes. Almost finished here now, but oh yeah, suddenly found another island I'd missed. It's a bit weird coming around those islands because I'm trying to go clockwise, around the perimeter and then try and catch anything in the middle I miss, but you can get confused direction-wise sometimes. Now,
if you explore a dungeon in a role-playing game, you develop a rule: always turn left, and that way you can explore the whole dungeon.
That is with this magic cube, always turn left and upside down, and in the end you get it all done.
That's right.
Yeah, until you come to a blank wall that you can't get through. Yes, there's there are tricks to that. I always used to have quite a good sense of direction in the real world, but it's much harder virtually. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad it's not my job, this one, because I would get lost all the time.
Yeah.
I get lost on my own regions.
Yes, actually, well, that was something I did when I had the offline. It was a VAR file which was 5 by 5, so it's massive, and I just dumped all the mesh, ground, and interlaid it from the sky. And so actually, when I actually went down to Earth, so to speak, the virtual Earth, and wandered around, it was like exploring because I'd done it from the sky, like a big, tapestry. But it's only when you walked around saying, "Oh, there's a crack here. This will make a good place to put a cave," and sort of inventing whole new things once you got down to Earth. Oh, that's it. Well, that's it for that film. So,
Very beautiful.
all right, now, what else? Okay. Talking of Safari, which of course I'd forgotten sort of, Wednesdays at noon Pacific time on the Safari grid. 2 new stops this week. Destination 1 will be Yana, Dakota, giving us a tour of her Asian-themed region called Samsara, and it's on the AMV, that's the alternate metaverse grid. Get ready to meditate, says a. Destination 2 is the Isle of Nara. No relation to Nara, but Isle of Nara on Counter Earth grid. And it's a Gorean paradise with a Japanese theme. And the host is somebody Japanese, in fact, Shinjinki Nakahara. Go figure. We'll find out when we get there. Don't know. Some people get very affected by the Gorean stuff, but I imagine it's more Japanese than Korean. I don't know. Japanese culture is very odd. Yeah, so that's the 2 stops for Monday. Now, what have I left out here? Okay, moving on to I featured these last week, the Atlas Island and the Super Scuba. But I'm going to run the film I talked firstly, if we have time. Yeah, I think we have, of the safari at the region was called Aquimica. And I don't know if I got these in the right order, but we'll have to see. But one reason for running these is I actually have a couple of questions to James, because I know that I heard in passing, James, that you but actually a not hypergridded grid, but never mind, are working on an underwater region of your own.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought maybe, well, I know it's not this one, but theme being theme, if you'd like to tell us about that, if you're free to.
Oh, it's nothing much. In Second Life, I keep a presence there, and I had a little tiny parcel that was like the first land that I had gotten, and I just have had the urge to do something a little different, and I found a fun parcel that's very near the the original regions of Second Life, and it borders on a preserved area called Rosedale, excuse me, and but most of the parcel is underwater, and so I'm just building some fun underwater landscaping. I have a couple of skeletons of sea creatures and some plants and some rocks and all the basics, and it's fun to do something very different. Yeah.
Buildings like underwater ruins?
No buildings. Like just
probably haven't got. You'd need the space for that.
Yeah, just a naturescape, really. Yep.
I think on the big VAR thing I mentioned that I think I had because all the land was flattened to about minus 20 feet or something. My actual land, on land as it were, was all mesh, so there was all this vacant space underneath. Underwater, they would actually cover the whole sort of 25 regions or something. So I've done lots of old ruins and things down there. Like maybe this is Atlantis now sunk or things like that. But it's something that was included in her build. The quicker one. We saw a lot of fishes and treasure chests and all sorts of things, really, didn't we? But at first it was all a bit like what we're seeing here, and then as we moved along, we suddenly realised that she had, lost ruins underwater there, as well as the wonderfully coloured flowers. I've got a lot of old photo CDs actually taken by divers of coral reefs, and the colors are astonishing. They really are. You don't think the light to produce color can get down there, but they have, I don't know, there's minerals or something that they have color of their own. They don't actually need the light from the surface to just look wonderful.
Yeah, they produce their own lights and colors.
Yeah, bioluminescence.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gorgeous to watch. It's a shame the things like the Great Barrier Reef and Australia is being the coral is just dying. You know,
Washed out.
it turns white, and it's another
Yeah.
global warming thing. We've destroyed the coral reefs, and of course, corals are a life form. They're living. They're not just rocks. They may have a lifestyle pace that resembles rocks, but they are not rocks. You know, the many mysterious life forms on this planet.
Yeah, and I did go back and explore this region some more. It was there were things that I missed on the Hypergrid safari tour, so it was fun to take it back in again.
Yeah, when I'm filming, I have a bad habit of just going off on my own directions and then circling around, and then I'll come back and I'll realize, oh, there's a safari mob. You know, I've gone my way, they've gone their way, and I come back and meet them. Yeah. But of course, you know, I'm picking up things in camera, and then I'm realizing they're being taken on the journey in a sort of different order. And you can't really be sure.
Well, and the great thing that a safari gives us is the opportunity to speak with the creator and have the creator talk more about their challenges, their excitement, their successes, and I enjoy that part of it. It's extraordinary access to meet the creative people.
But I also enjoy the tips and hints that gives you for visiting later on, you know. It's not the one visit with safari, and because like when I go with a safari, I only see a part of, because I'm either interested in what there is being spoken of, you know, or sometimes I go on my own, but I never get to see everything, you know, and then I just normally return sooner or later to the places where we've gone, and I discover the region by myself, and that's great fun also. Though I really enjoy go with a safari.
Yeah.
With all the people.
It's just so different experiences, really. The explorer and the the social group and what you're told about it. Oh yeah, of course. So to remind everybody that this was about 10 days ago, but of course this blog and slideshow you'll find on hgsafari.blogspot.com, and the post for this one is called Super Scuba, with a dash between super and scuba. In fact, we saw those last week, so I'm not going to replay the slides now. But this is the Malbones tour bit kind of thing. Now you can see I'm desperately trying to get through some Invisibrim there or something and catch up with. I've got my windows popping up and stuff. This is what I do when I come down to the ground and try and join Safari while I'm filming. I keep having to discard by this windows and stuff. There we are. I think I'm going to catch up now. And of course, the other thing, it took me a while to realize is at one point we get to this gigantic boat. I think there's two actual ruins. They're not architectural ruins. They're actually shipwrecks with the ship on its side. And one of them is full of a treasure trove, pirate style. Yeah, and some of these reed-like flowers and stuff, or this one's in the foreground here. Of course, it's all going by too quick. Those are intriguing. I mean, some of these sort of plants I've not actually seen before. Well, I probably have, but forget. She's really done quite a good job of collecting. You know, it's sort of as well as an environment, it's kind of a collection, like gallery of underwater life forms.
Yeah, and then those that were lucky got to go. She has a place where she stores all the things she's collected, and
Yes.
you can get plants if you like.
I'll have to pick that up if it's publicly available, or chase her down.
I don't think it's public, but.
Oh, right. Yeah. I used to have a lot of that stuff, but the avatars and the regions I had it in defunct now, really.
Yep.
Probably got them offline. I've got an awful lot of the 5x5 bar region is still on an old computer offline, and of course, got the OAR and IR files, which means if I needed to, I could recover all the inventory. Okay, that's it for that one. So I got a couple of shorter ones too. This one's just 4 minutes. Same location, of course. So we'll get there's our treasure chest. I think it's the same pot of gold we found somewhere else as well. But why can't you duplicate the treasure, eh? That's what the pirates used to say. Oh well, okay, I'm being a bit greedy. I'm just going to duplicate that part of the treasure.
Shift and drag. Just shift, shift and drag.
Yeah, shift, drop and drag. Go and hide it somewhere else where nobody can find it. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely if we could shift drag real life? Yeah. And the jellyfish, or I presume those are jellyfish, aren't they? The shape of them. They sting when you touch them.
Yeah.
I never really saw it on the surface. I remember as a kid, I got stung by a jellyfish, and oh god, it was agony.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're not. It wasn't like a nettle or even a bee. Well, actually, I've never been stung by a bee. I had a dog that got stung by a bee. It was its own fault for chasing the thing. It got stung in the nose, and my god, that was.
Wow.
It's a boxer dog, if you know what they are.
Yeah, I think stunning prey is a pretty serious business for the jellies.
yeah. Well, they wouldn't be able to do it if there wasn't a reason for it. That's what I figure, Yeah. It's like, bees. That dog must have been making a real pain in the ass of itself to get stung.
Yeah, bees don't like to sting.
Wasps will sting you willy-nilly, but a bee loses its sting. It can only use it once.
It loses its life when it stings. So
yeah, it's a major thing for it to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fascinating, It's sort of like the black widow spider thing that kills its prey after mating and strange things like that. Seems that however nasty we folks are, actually, some of us humans are mercifully spared some of nature's habits. Yeah, here's the ship on its side here. Again, the gold thing. Yeah, more jellyfishes, a few normal fishes. It's very odd coming around that because the whole thing's on its side, and you can't easily orientate the camera to follow the flat surface.
It's really looking.
So these swarms of little fishes coming out there, and that can't say that's an octopus or something. Can't say I'm a big fan of them. And of course, all the things you expect on an old galley. That's what they call them, isn't it? Those ships. I always find, it's relevant here too. When I go to my camera keeps moving up. It's actually very close beneath the surface here, so diving in. But I get different atmospheres in underwater areas. Some where you really feel like you're underwater, and others they've got bills like clubs or something. That on the grid at least are underwater, but you have no inclination that they are underwater. And I never quite figured out that, because I figure if you are underwater, it should feel like underwater. But there should be signs that
Well, that depends on the build that you're making. I made long time ago. I made this. Um, what was the ship called of the submarine of not Captain Nemo,
Oh, not
Nautilus.
Captain Nemo.
the Nautilus. Yeah, I
Oh,
built that, and of course, you kind of have to build it underwater, but at
of
the
course.
same time, you have to give the feeling inside as if it was not underwater. Because
Yes, yeah.
so that was quite a challenge to get that and see the water outside, and yet on the inside you have it as if it wasn't underwater.
Exactly. So how would you accomplish that? Is it a matter, is this like some way of physically blocking the water out of the
No, no, you cannot. It's a matter of lightning. And what I did so that you could see water outside, I mean, that you could get the image of water streaming outside, I put pictures in the windows and made them move. So then when you looked outside, you saw everything outside, but with this very thin film, let's say, of moving water in front of it.
right,
So
sure.
that gave an impression, and of course, fishes and stuff.
Bit like the odd effects on our curtains behind us this week. It's a little experiment.
Yeah,
Dripping water over this curtain. It's very
yeah,
faint, but I wanted to see
exactly.
how it looked. Yeah, no, I always wondered about that because if you're swimming around in a swim pose or something underwater,
Mm.
you find you go into a cave and it rises up a little bit, and suddenly you're on dry land, except you're not.
Yeah.
How, you know?
Well, within that Nautilus that I built, that was really a problem. If you had um, an AO, a swimming AO, and
Yeah,
as soon as like flew a little bit, you started with swimming movements,
yeah. Oh,
even inside. So was better not to use the swimming AO than inside of the Nautilus. That
Yeah.
was funny.
yeah. It's funny. I never did figure out. We were looking at the Northern Tuscany film a few minutes ago, and that region's actually called Nautilus, so Northern Tuscany, and I didn't quite figure out what the Nautilus had to do with anything in the name, except
Mm.
identifier. But it's a strange segues there. Stream color.
That's really lovely.
Yeah.
That's really.
It's just just so well done, jam packing a whole, an art gallery of aqua. Well, it's not aquamarine. What am I talking about? Aquatic. Yeah, an art gallery of aquatic life forms. Yeah, and some of these sort of you see them on land and stuff, early Second Life stuff, where they got plants and they're actually two-dimensional stand-up like ornaments. But of course, you get a bit of wind in them, or a bit of flexi trim, or something like
Yeah,
that.
those are those what you call like the underwater grass like that.
Yeah,
That is all flexi prims,
yeah,
and these are not.
yeah. But just the
Um,
fact they're made to move and stuff, and
mm.
or they are like cardboard cutouts, but they somehow look an awful lot better. I remember. I'm not actually. I don't really know, but I'm not up to date with Second Life. I think the wind business in Second Life has been sort of demoted over the years. I remember in the early days there was a lot of what you built would be immediately affected by the wind direction.
Yeah,
But
well, if as soon as it is flexi,
yeah,
then you can the flexi menu, you can say which direction the wind comes from and which direction
yeah,
your item should blow to, and how hard and how soft and how
yeah.
heavy it
But
is. So
in the very early days of Second Life, they didn't have flexi brims or anything like that. there was just a thing where you'd have those rudimentary cartoon-like trees, but they would blow in a certain direction. You didn't have to set it. It was just Second Life had wind, you know.
I
Don't know.
seriously don't remember time without flex.
Yeah, I only remember it vaguely. It's quite a long way. Okay, well, that's all we got. I have let's go with a small one. I've actually got 3 clips, but this one's just 3 minutes. The other place we went 10 days ago was Atlas Island. And I'm not sure what order my clips are in. I remember starting off by going up this is where we landed. Very dark, this place as well. I've got used to these days of actually going to places with shared lighting on, which everybody recommends. You know, you'll see the lighting I want you to see. But, oh, this was where I started, actually. I'll go up the steps here. But, you know, sometimes when you're trying to film or something, that is very, very dark.
Yeah.
And, you know, I keep thinking maybe I should just have done what I used to do, which is change to sunset or change to something a bit more agreeable for the camera. It's okay here, the lights under the giant there. That's actually he's holding the earth or whatever it is on his shoulders. Hard to get a camera right up to that, but there it is. Africa in focus. The yellow lights work quite well in the dark there, actually, but there's more in the background. A shepherd with sheep. My goodness. Trying to remember, it's 10 days ago now. I think I managed to stay online for the whole of this one, judging by the film I've got here. Amazing what a bit of what do we call it? Bright on the water does in the dark. Makes it look very strange, you know. Glowing water, but I quite like it actually. Full bright. That's the expression I was thinking of.
Yeah, that I find the shame in the coloring and the textures, that you can only click on full bright and not have like half full bright or something like that. You know, degrees, because sometimes full bright is just too much, and not use it is too little. You know.
Yeah. And the other thing that kind of annoys me about Fulbright is that I can put up a slideshow or something here and make the screen Fulbright so that it stands out, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever ways it'd be duller if I didn't. But if you're actually looking at something that's Fulbright in midday setting, you can't really tell whether it's Fulbright or not.
Yeah.
But when you look at it at night, it stands out a mile and takes over the whole landscape. And like that's with me, it's sort of it's. I think light projectors and light sources work a lot better than something like Fulbright. Fulbright just seems a bit. Oh, it's got its uses, I suppose, in studios and bills like that. Okay, so let's just see what we. Okay, we've got no right. Oh, this was another bit of it actually. All this, by the way, I should say. Again, you can the mysterious island or so. No, the mysterious Atlas Isle is the blog post that I had on this again 10 days ago or so. And it's on Dorina's World, the grid. We should add that. That's quite famous. We go, Safari's been to Dorina's World for a whole load of things. It's really quite a big grid. Nothing like trying to camera up a ladder, eh? I don't think my avatar would be any more successful, but there we go.
No, you accomplished.
I got there in the end. This really has multiple levels, actually, yeah. Finally, I get to the almost residential area, I should say. I couldn't actually find a way to. I couldn't find a way to connect the top level of the treehouse to this. There must have been a hidden climb. Oh, there's well hidden climb. Probably why it looks so deserted. Nobody wants to inhabit a place that is climbing a mountain to get home. Although I can talk, in real life. Feels like I climb a mountain to get to my
But it
farm.
looks beautiful, no? But
Yeah, it looks good.
high up in the tree.
Yeah, but it does look good with the lighting at night there, actually. Some of these had this sort of piratey feel to the ones there. I've seen it. I've seen other buildings like that. I picked up now and again from places. Actually, there's a little sideline here. There was a post from Linden Lab I picked up earlier today. I put it on my feeds. They're really slamming down on copyright. New ways of enforcing it and tracking things. Which they didn't specifically. Well, they did mention copy bossing, of course, but it's a campaign to stop stuff coming out of Second Life or being copied in Second Life, and they did specifically mention other places. Stop our stuff getting to other places, kind of thing. Very tough language. Especially for the so-called friendly new face of Linden's at the moment. I mean, it was sort of, but it was a result. They had a Zoom call with about 90 people, all of whom were creators, and so it was apparently a big issue that was brought up. But I think the marketplace people could sell outside Second Life, and criminals only do stuff when it's cost effective. If they get, if it's cheaper or more manageable another way, there's no market for it. So, I imagine it's something like that building, for example, if just a hypothetical here had originated in Second Life and somebody had copy-botted it and brought it over here, then if they plan to have a kind of tracking the UID thing, and they would have a way of tracking it outside of Second Life, that could have quite a lot of implications for certain people, should we say.
Seems rather difficult to me.
It sounds rather ambitious, yes. I mean, it doesn't sound like a sort of just put a switch on and hope for the best. But also, anybody found, they're in contravention, they'll be banned. Plus, any alts they've got will be banned, and their inventories, including stuff that may be legal, will be wiped out completely. And basically, they'll have their they'll be what's the American phrase? You'll be ghosted, including assets.
Inside of Second Life, of course, but
yes, of course.
Ban anybody in another place. Anyways, in Second Life, the thing is that whatever you create in Second Life is at the position of Linden's.
Yeah.
You cannot dispose of it as you like.
Yeah, I've always thought that is a bit of a. There's a lot of contradictions in Second Life.
It's a robbery, really, because if you make something, if you create something in Second Life, why can you not? You, the owner, the creator, cannot take it to another, for example, to OpenSim.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, basically, people need to do that. You simply alter it offline, and then you import it into Second Life and import it into OpenSim, and it may be the same thing.
Yeah, but
because it didn't originate.
Yeah, but it's rather difficult to do all that,
Yeah,
but you cannot just, you cannot just export it to Second Life, and I think that is not to another open sim. I think that is like it's like a robbery because it says in the in their business thingies that precisely that you Second Life is the possessor and can do with it as it
As
esteemed,
they
not
please.
Second Life
Yeah.
Linden, as they esteem. Even they can use it for propaganda matters or whatever. That is
That's
like
kind of new. Yeah.
that's like to me that seems impossible.
It's delicate. I mean, the propaganda thing is all the, people, it's quite common for publishers to say they have the rights to reproduce the first edition of your book or something.
Okay.
And they always have a clause saying that they will automatically have rights to use your images for publicity.
Yeah, okay, but that is another thing. That
Yeah.
is something if you um, publish for somebody,
Yeah.
then okay, you get paid for it, and then you practically sell your works and sell your idea. That is one thing I understand. But in Second Life, you have to pay for it to
Yeah.
build it. You have to have the ground. You have to everything you upload, you pay for.
Yeah.
And if you upload textures, you upload the mesh and all that. For everything you have to pay for, and in the end, it belongs to Linden's. Well, I mean,
I think
pay them
I think
and
you'll find that they won't claim ownership on something that is that you've actually uploaded. It's only
yes,
when
they
you
do. Yes, they do.
well, this would be like you an artist who goes down to the art shop and buys some paintbrushes and some paint. You don't expect him to every painting sort of say
Yeah,
which brush
yeah,
he used and which color of paint and
yeah,
manufacturer.
yeah.
And I mean, that would be like buying Photoshop and having to every stroke of the brush having to credit them. And so, oh, by the way, this is a wonderful thing that took me 3 days to paint, but it's all owned by Adobe, by the way, because I use their brushes.
Yeah,
It gets nonsensical, but and also I always get into this. It's very difficult talking to Philip sometimes on these matters because he loves as James knows, he loves when he was promoting Fair Share. I mean, he always says how wonderful the Linden dollar is. But one thing he never really mentions is the fact that the only people who benefit from that stipend are actually paid members.
yeah,
Free users don't get a stipend.
yeah.
So it's to pretend that stipend builds the economies and keeps it going is only half the thing. Other people earn money in there, and well, it's the economy is not that easy. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's pros and cons there, but that's why OpenSim is so popular. Educators sort of took one look at how much they were being charged to rent a bit of space on a server owned by Linden Lab, and they thought, no, I'll go somewhere where Linden Lab don't own it.
Yeah.
And you have
Well,
to do the work, talking people.
that is true. That is when I finally decided not to go back to Second Life anymore. Is when they came out with this new clause in their business, whatever you call it,
Yeah,
that everything one creates there, no matter how he paid for it or how he built it or when he built it, belongs permanently to to Linden Labs. I
yeah.
mean, that to me seems really, yeah, it seems like a theft, a robbery. And so I decided I will not build any more in Second Life.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, another long discussion there, but believe it or not, we've covered everything I got lined up today. So we've covered a load of stuff, haven't we? New regions,
Yeah.
4 safari destinations, plus, of course, Kylie Craft's anniversary. And I think we'll talk about this offline, I think, but we're trying to, I think we should, I think for next week, maybe instead of trying to find a new region to film, I should come into Kitely, maybe escorted by you, Tosha, and not Kitely, sorry, Craft. And all the different regions you were mentioning. Obviously, not the educators one where we can't get to, but like a quick hop around.
Okay.
all the major areas,
Well,
and we'll
I,
just
I
do
can
like
go to the educators regions and take some pics there.
that's true. Yeah, the picture's just as good as
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm not
Let's,
very good at filming. Well, that is, I never tried. But
oh,
I can.
I can film. Just
Yeah,
the
but
way I
in
do
the
it.
educators regions, you cannot. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I would just go around, sort of filming, maybe five, say we're going to 20 spots or something. I just do 5 minutes each. And in your case, you could take photos of regions I can't get to, and they can put them
Okay.
up as a photo slideshow, like before. So you can actually send them to me, and then I'll run the slides from,
Okay,
you
and I
know,
send them to you a little bit earlier than the ones of the
yeah.
poetry.
Oh, we'll go together and arrange it.
Okay.
We can chat on Discord while we're filming or something. So that's
Yeah, fine.
without recording. I mean, the audio, but yeah.
Okay.
And James can come if you can find the time. Okay, well, it's about wrap up time actually. So, anything else from either of you? I'll start with James. We're not like we've got anything else to say to the guest.
That's right.
The cushion, the empty cushion. But anything else occurs to you, James, before we wrap
No,
the wrap?
maybe the only thing, just a little reminder about HIE coming up, and the
Oh
booth
yeah,
deadline is the end of this week for people
yeah.
to put in their booths, and
Yeah.
I don't know, it's shaping up to be a pretty exciting program. So I think
And
keep an
It
eye
is.
out.
in HIE.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
That's
should remind you, of course, actually, that
that.
HIE actually does have its own blog, not at HG Safari blogspot. I think I'm kind of trying to remember.
yeah, I've got
I
it. I
think.
can do a lower third of it if you like.
Oh yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, so the Hypergrid International Expo is at the beginning of April, so it really is creeping up on us 2 months to get it all sorted now. Um, but anybody on OpenSim, whether you're an individual or a organization or a grid itself or a region on a grid, you can take a booth at the HIE. And there's this vast parkland with sort of long and winding roads with booths all over the place. And, people can actually spend quite a while just walking around the perimeter and stuff and see booths. You want to have a booth that people stop at and take in, what you're trying to convey. And basically, you can get a default booth, and you can edit it and sort it out the way you want. You can't build an extension or anything. It's got to be a modified version of the booth. But you can pick that up on the HI grid or on the Safari grid, in fact. And then submit it. And we're already, I think, I gather we're already at, probably 50 or 60 already in situ, and we're still 2 months away.
Yep.
So it's a great way to be present. As far as I know, everything now in terms of performances and talks has been confirmed. So it's been a mixture of German, French, Spanish, Italian. But even if you're English or any language really, but particularly English, you'll be fine because you simply join a group for English speakers, and you'll get, if somebody is talking in French, it will be instantly translated for you, a synopsis anyway, on screen for you. So you have no problem understanding the foreign languages, which is one of the best things about it all. So I think James has now put up on the lower third the relevant address. So if you just look down below at the bottom of your screen, that's where to go to pick up a default booth to work on, and then submit it and ask further questions, I guess. Yeah, and there'll be a link there to Thursday's blog, which is a separate HIE blog, apart from Safari. So I think that's that. Yeah, good. Thanks for reminding me about that, James. It's easy when you've got a list of things to go to, things that aren't get me lost. So Tosha, anything else from you you'd like to say before?
Not really. I've really covered everything that I had in mind tonight.
Yeah, we've had a busy little show. We covered a lot of ground, even, and we're not too much over time, are we?
Still 1 hour 44 minutes.
Well, the dog, the hound is still here. His bowl is in behind.
The hound's only watching out for the guests, so that's if it's just us, enough. I think we're fine, right?
Yeah, fair enough. And actually, I probably I sneaked a bit of food into his tray when no one was looking. That shut him up, didn't it? Yeah. Okay, folks. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the show. All our destinations and film footage and commentary and everything else, which is great fun. I mean, doing this sort of stuff, because if we don't actually have a guest, we can catch up on a lot of stuff that we often don't have room for when we got a guest in at the same time. So swings and roundabouts. I'd like to thank right-hand man, as you were, the sitting, non-fiddling person that is James Atlloud.
Yeah, thank you. And Mel, thanks for bringing us all together again.
Right. Yep. And thanks, of course, to my wonderful co-host, Tosha, Tyran.
It was a pleasure, like always.
Wonderful. And I'm just going to wish you all a very good morning, very good afternoon, a very good evening, even a good tomorrow, depending on wherever and whenever you are. And it's around.